Good afternoon guys, and welcome back to the channel, and welcome back to, as you'll see by the title, we're talking about why the majority of people cannot strike the chip shots correctly. And there's three things we're going to go through today that I see from a lot of people when they come for lessons, when I see people out on the golf course. Three basic things that you can change quickly and we then should be able to generate a better strike. The first thing we're going to look at is stance width. So a lot of people standing really wide, from there they're addressing the ball. Again, just like a normal shot, if you saw me now, you'd be thinking, oh, he's trying to hit that potentially 100 yards, 120 yards, when realistically, I'm only trying to play a 20-yard shot. What that does, if I get too wide, is encourage people to move off the ball. So if I'm moving off the ball, that's going to change where my low point could probably be. That's going to affect where I'm going to contact the ground. Obviously, that's going to affect where I hit the ball. If we do move off the ball, a lot of the times the club is working up, we're hitting the middle of the ball with, again, going to thin that ball straight through the green. We can also catch that heavy because I'm catching the ground before. If the leading edge digs in, we're going to take a big divot and the ball is going to dribble 3 or 4 yards in front. So up to around about 40 yards, it might be longer for you. Again, trial and error this. You might move back all the way to 60 yards and be able to have this stance. But what we want to look at is getting our stance around about a club width apart. So it's nice and easy for you to test. If you get onto the golf course, go, right, this is the point I need to think, right, that's a little bit wider, that's why I might be misstriking the ball. From there, when it is a club width apart, we're going to get this left foot turned out, which just allows us to be able to rotate. The main thing we're working on, which we'll talk about in another point, is the body, but just allowing that allows the hips to turn with that chest. From here, obviously, if I move off the ball, I'm going to start to lose my balance. So it's really going to give me some feedback. So from there, I should now be able to make swings, and I'm going to be catching the same part of the grass, or the same part of the ground, each time. Then when I come into the ball, that allows me to make that same motion and get a nice crisp strike there, nice and low off the face, plenty of spin, and that's gone to the 25-yard flag. So once we've got the narrow stance, some people might start to get thin still, start to knife it through. You see there, I caught that nice and low on the face, plenty of spin, and it stopped just at that flag at around about 20-25 yards. The second point is from down the line. So what I see a lot of times is not only wide, but we're then full distance away from the ball. So from there, it's going to encourage me to potentially work this club around, pull me out of balance a little bit. Knees then have to get involved, and there's a lot of things and a lot of timing that can go wrong. With my narrow stance now, we want to make sure that club is lying flat. If I'm trying to play a mid trajectory, a normal trajectory, not high, not low, then we want to get that club lying on the ground at its natural angle. I'm a little bit closer and a little bit taller. This allows me to keep the club outside of the hands much easier. So if we have a go at that one now, again, club lying flat, a nice mid-flight, started a bit right, but a pretty good shot and plenty of spin on there. So what a lot of times, if we are too far away, again, that's going to encourage me to be coming in too shallow. If not, I see people try and manipulate it, throw the hands at the ball, and that brings in all different kinds of strike that we're going to get. So if you're starting to feel that you're too far away from the ball, think about it, get that club lying naturally or level to the ground, and then we're going to be around about just over a foot away from the ball. So if you're back here, we start and we're reaching for that ball, you can see that's going to be pulling me out of position. So as a reference, set the club first, then think about it, right, that's level now, I'm just over a foot away from the ball, and we're then in that consistent setup to be able to hit shots consistently. So the third and final thing we're going to be looking at is your motion. So I mentioned that when we talked about stance. The biggest thing that I see from most amateurs and why we have an inconsistent strike is because we're more tilting of the body instead of turning the chest. So we want to make sure we're getting a lot more rotation from the body instead of it being from a tilting motion. Once I start to tilt, I'm going to tilt forwards, tilt back. That low point could be way before the ball. Sometimes it'll be very scoopy. We might get a drop kick sometimes and it'll go in the air, but it won't get the distance we want. Next time we're going to tilt forwards and we're going to take a big divot, because I'm going to stay on the left side, turn, and that's going to go just in front. What it's also going to encourage you to do is cut across the ball. So it's going to encourage a glancing blow. A lot of people will tilt, fall back, and you can see then we're going to get very much a toe strike. That one's got a nice drop kick and it has worked, but very much off the toe. I can't then control how far that is going to go each time. If I'm trying to play a nice delicate one to this first flag, I'm not sure. Is it going to come off very slow off the toe of your club? If you are somebody who toe strikes it, think about that. If you are falling back, the club is going to be working left, and you're more than likely going to hit the toe of your club. So if you see a consistent pattern of a toe strike and you want to get that more centered, think about it. If you're falling back, that club is going to be past its low point and it's going to be working left with your turning body. So you really need to think about that to be able to generate a centered strike. If we get a centered strike, we know that obviously from there we're going to be able to control our flight, we're going to be able to control our spin, and as a result we can be a little bit more positive in your shots. So drill guys, what I want you to do is to make sure we can tick all of these 3 boxes is we're going to drop that right foot back, make your stance nice and narrow, and we're going to make some motions here where I'm really focusing on turning that body, so I'm not tilting, I'm making sure that the chest turns and I finish over this left hand side. So if I have any kind of excessive movement, I'm going to lose balance. If I have any kind of falling back, I'm also going to get the same kind of strike. So left foot just in front. Again, we're focusing on that same distance away. You can put an alignment stick down for that or a spare club. Drop that right foot back and then pick a target. It could just be the middle of the green, and then focus on I'm turning my body back, turning my body through, and that's now launched with spin, with a consistent flight that I know now I can get a centered strike. If we do zoom in, we can see that is a centered strike there on the club. It's not a glancing blow. So guys, 3 things to get better strikes in your short game. Narrow up that stance, make sure we can control that low point a little bit better. From down the line, we want to think I'm not stood too far away with a wide stance. I'm now going to be just over a foot away from the ball with the club at its natural lie angle. And the third thing is focus on your body and your chest turning back and chest turning through, not tilting there and falling back. So if you're hitting fats, if you're hitting thins, drop into that drill, start to control. If I turn my body back and through, I'll catch the ground in the same place, get a better strike, get a better start line, get more control on your spin, and hopefully reduce your handicap. So guys, hopefully you've enjoyed that. Hopefully that's given you some help with your short game, and I'll see you again later in the week.